Hello and welcome to CDAO Magazine interview series. I'm Asha Saxena, founder and CEO of Women Leaders in Data and AI. Today, I have a pleasure of talking to my dear friend, Besa Bauta, who is also a Chief Data and Analytics Officer for State of Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Besa, welcome. I'm curious about your concern about how the technology is built and how important it is for organizations to think about ethical and responsible AI.
I think for me, I always think of what are the intended and unintended consequences of any type of application. So I think you talk beautifully about even nuclear energy. I mean, and I know with your recent trip, I'm
Yes.
not sure if you were in Switzerland. I didn't know if you were in Europe somewhere, but
Yeah,
the,
it was
the
in Switzerland, yeah, in Bern, where I was at the Albert Einstein's house. And I was like reflecting. I was standing there and I was saying, oh my God, he did invent the, basis of atomic bomb. But he said that was my biggest mistake to write the letter to the president because he
Roosevelt,
didn't,
yes.
yeah, the result, exactly.
I think, I mean, especially after World War II, when development of the, sort of splitting the atom and developing of the atom bomb. I mean, none like Oppenheimer or the Manhattan Project, none of those researchers or scientists really thought about it. What are the unintended consequences of these types of technologies, right? No one thought they were going to have a Hiroshima or a Nagasaki, or, sort of using these types of tools in nefarious ways. And those unintended consequences, I think that's where things can go, pretty awry in science. My daughter was doing a recent project and she is looking at what are the unintended consequences of a huge majority of folks, kind of relying on big pharma and having all of these, antidepressants or different types of medications go down to waterways. How does it affect, downstream ecosystems where you have fish, or other types of organisms, changing behavior because of this big, because we're dumping these chemicals into our water. So
Right.
those unintended consequences, I think, are key. I know that recently there was a letter. I didn't sort of delve a lot into that, but I saw that in the news where you had, sort of top folks in the field of computer science, sort of AI, kind of writing a general letter saying we really, really need to think about what are some of those unintended consequences, really examine how these technologies are going to be applied, how they're going to be used, and what are some things that we really haven't thought about it. So the unintended consequences is new applications, right? How do you apply these things very differently, as you talked about, small to mid-sized businesses, kind of running and applying these technologies in a very different ways than they were designed or intended. So I think that's where we, as a collective, as human race, really have to think about what is our footprint in a way. How do these technologies actually help us achieve our goals and objectives to live harmoniously on this planet, and come up with really novel solutions, if that's environmental, to sort of address some of the climate change. You talk about healthcare, making it much more, personal. Our human services as well as our healthcare is pretty fragmented. We don't have enough physicians. We don't have enough healthcare. So how do these technologies kind of fill the void and the gap and make us much better, make my life much better if I don't have to remember, things that are just inconsequential, then I can remember things that are much more important. I could use my energy in a better way. I think those are really important points to think about. What would that look like in the next year or 2 years from now?
Right. When we talk about ethical AI, and I love what you said, is like even unknowingly, right? Unknowingly how these technologies are going to impact our world is important. And the responsibility is on our engineers, our programmers who are developing this. And during the pandemic, when I built this organization, WLDA, Women Leaders in Data and AI, my whole thought was, Besa, oh my God, we're building these technologies and it's built by one gender, and it's developed by one type of people. It becomes so important to have diversity, even in your teams, even in the data set you are collecting, making sure that the practice, the thought process really goes in. So it becomes the responsibility of the leaders who are the head of data, head of AI, chief data officers, chief information officers, or even the partners, right, who are in marketing, finance, business units, who are actually getting engaged with these technologies to be thinking about diversity, thinking about ethics, thinking about, are we building something that might and test in different ways to make sure that there is, and then comes the accuracy. Are the models accurate or not, and can they have the right effect and the right answers? So I think it's, even though we all are excited about the future, I think there is a responsibility on the leaders to show up and do the right things, build a diverse team, look at the big data, which is, diverse in nature, look at the ethics and responsible codes, and make sure that they are conducting the development, the architecture, the design, and the execution in a way that, you know, uh, consider the unbiased, the unknowns, and then create the, and we can wish the best for the world, that everybody does get retooled, does get revamped. We are going to get, these technologies are not going anywhere. So when Elon Musk talks about pausing, I wonder if we can actually make the pause happen. It's not happening. So the development is going to keep going. The only thing we can do is that talk more about being responsible, being ethical. I know we are at the end of our time. I want to thank you so much, Besa. I always enjoy talking about,
It's
um,
lovely talking to you, Asha.
yeah, about anything around technology. And with your vast experience and knowledge, there's a lot to really share. Thank you so much for being on the CDO Magazine interview. And hopefully we'll connect again, and have another conversation. And for everyone who's listening, if you have any questions about WILDA, Women Leaders in Data and AI, please reach out to me or Besa. Besa has been a member for a while. And about CDO Magazine, please visit CDAO.Magazine.tech for any additional interviews and tons of great content on the website. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Asha. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.